Hey, it's Dr. Mordecai, and thank you for joining me for itsdrmordecai.com, episode 15. This will be part 2 of sometimes our successes remind others of what they have failed to achieve. So let's get started. So if you're wondering where we are in this conversation, go back to the previous episode. You'll kind of see where we had to kind of cut it off. I think it was some good discussion, some things to keep in mind, and hopefully it's getting you to think. Now understand this, the purpose of this conversation really started from some interesting conversations I was having with some fellow student affairs professionals. And the whole topic of conversation was millennials. A lot of millennials are being put in powerful positions fairly early on, early 30s, mid 30s, whereas others, previous generations, they weren't getting opportunities to be vice presidents or even presidents. Okay, let's think about the president of Shaw University. Not to pick on her, I admire her, but just to use her as an example, someone that's very young that has a very powerful position. So a lot of millennials are being put in the driver's seat fairly early on. And so you begin to have this conversation about success and how others view our success and whether or not we want to, avoiding the pitfalls of jealousy and those that can look at our success and say, you don't deserve that, you're too young for that. Or how did you get that opportunity? I should have that opportunity. You don't deserve to have that opportunity. So again, in those conversations, here's some other tips that I want you to keep in mind. Number one, keep your cool. You don't owe anyone any explanations for your success. There's a reason why you've been given the opportunities that you've been given, generally speaking. You have a resume that is strong, you have a great personality, or you have a great skill set. And so we don't need to get caught in those conversations. I'll tell you, and I've experienced this, I call it margarita gossip, okay? So you get the job, all of a sudden the news gets out and others are going to have a hard time coping or dealing with the fact that you've been given that opportunity. So the margarita gossip is all of a sudden someone calls and coordinates those meeting after work at happy hour, and you are the topic of conversation, the margarita gossip. And sometimes it's hurtful to hear who showed up to the event. And there are those that just want to be nosy and see what the topic is, but you're probably are being served up for dinner. So again, keep your cool. And I'll use myself as an example. There's been an opportunity that I'm thinking of right now. The first thing I wanted to do was call that person. I wanted to approach them head on and say, why is this an issue? Why do you have a problem with me? Let's talk this out. And I'm just going to use this as an example. You have to use discernment and really determine, is this the kind of conversation you need to have with this particular person? Because if they've already been orchestrating the gossip and the conversation regarding your success, chances are there won't be a good conversation, because the level of maturity or respect that should be there to have a truly productive conversation, there may not be a foundation for that. And all you would be doing is adding fuel to the fire. So really think through that. Keep your cool. Second thing I want to tell you is this. All your job is to do is to succeed. So yes, you've been given a position, but now it's time to show your competence. Now it's time to show others why you've been blessed and given the opportunity to do what it is that you do. And your job is to succeed, okay? And as time goes on, as you continue to put out a successful product, a true and thoughtful product, you're really impacting your students, you're really impacting your institution. Over time, you know what, a lot of those folks that were sitting at that margarita table begin to kind of think about the conversation and say, you know what, maybe there wasn't some truth to what was discussed. Maybe this person was truly deserving of the opportunities that they were given. So your job is to remain consistent, to remain productive, and you allow the narrative to be just that. And over time, everyone at the margarita table, everyone that has a problem with your success, you know what, they'll have to deal with it. And a lot of people will begin to change their mind that were swayed by the conversations of those that were leading the margarita gossip. So some things to keep in mind. I wish you the absolute best along your success journey, and I look forward to seeing you next week. You see my contact information below. I would love to hear from you. I look forward to seeing you soon at itsdrmordecai.com.